we're going to take a look at some more features of the trolling motor. Specifically, we're going to look at the bounce buster. So what this does is whenever you're running down the lake, the trolling motor is going to be kind of bouncing along, so it just does that, stops it from bouncing. So what it is, it's a leg, and it stops it from going down anymore, but it can still lift up. It's got a lot of play in it. Especially if you don't have it strapped down, maybe you're just making a quick run across a cove or something. So a product that's out there, and of course they're not paying me or anything like this, so I've just used it in the past and I know what it does. It is the T&H Marine G-Force Troll Tamer, and this is a really cool product. So what it does is it has a couple things here to it. It's got this little base and foot that gets mounted on the deck. And you can see it's got a quick open on the piece that mounts on the trolling motor. It's kind of like an arrowhead. So whenever you stow the trolling motor, it locks together and it stays there until you slide this and then you can retrieve it. So this piece right here, which is adjustable up and down, I think it says it goes up to 5 inches. Some people will mount it on the frame. I am going to cut this and mount it right there in place, so that I can get it a little bit farther out from the deck. So if I have rods laying here, it'll stay clear of that. And then of course we're gonna take this guy right here and we're gonna mount this foot right there so that when it comes down, it'll meet up and lock in place. It does come with some stainless steel 2-inch, maybe 2-inch screws to go with it. But I've heard lots of people talking about replacing that and just going with machine screws, stainless steel machine screws, and going all the way through the deck. So that's what we're gonna do. I did pick up, in this case, the whole opening is 1024. And very important, it's got to be a flat top. Otherwise, if you have a pan head or you have an oval head, it will not allow this to slide and open. So it's very important. It has to be a flat head so that this can slide. On the back side of that, we're gonna put some fender washers, and of course I've got some locking nuts as well. All right, so the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make some adjustments. This thing just unscrews off the bottom. And you can see that it's got lots of space for thread. So then we're going to measure the height that we want it at. The trolling motor is sitting in its proper stored position. So I'm going to mark it. I want that much thread inside of this aluminum rod. It is a solid aluminum rod. So what we'll have to do is drill and tap it. This is a 3/8 by 16-inch pitch. So we have a tap and die set for that. I did pick up a little holder, make it easier to run it down in there. It's aluminum, so it's not gonna be too difficult. But we wanna make sure we get it straight and we get it right the first time. The one thing to be aware of is that stainless steel is harder than the aluminum. So over and over again, banging and banging and banging, this might kind of work out its way in that aluminum. So I will not be throwing this piece away. I will be saving it just in case that does happen, or who knows, maybe I do a job and I don't get it right. So that way I can go back and I can always mount that in there and have that foot. So before mounting the foot base, we're gonna go ahead and uninstall this and drill and tap that and see how that goes. All right, to uninstall one of these bounce busters, it's super simple. Go ahead and pull the trolling motor release, lift it up a little bit. I'm gonna use just some blue tape to kind of hold it in a higher position. It does have a rubber cap. I've already got it off. It goes right on top here. And then it's got a nut that goes on top of that. And then just unscrew it. Simple enough. So, as you can see, maybe right there, I've already made my little mark of where I want to go ahead and cut that off. So I'll just remove that. You can see it's got a little bit of a pilot hole, so that's fantastic. It does look like it might be hollow. If that's the case, that's going to make my life a lot easier when it comes to running this tap down inside of it. So let me go ahead and cut this off, get that prepped, and we'll show you how to tap this.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, so here's something super important. When it's time to start running that tap, you need to go real slow. It's got little tiny cutting teeth on there, and you're creating the thread inside. So do your best to make sure that everything is parallel. Look at it from a couple different angles. It looks like it's leaning toward me a little bit here, so I want to make sure I get myself nice and straight whenever I go down in there. And just go slow. All right, so you can see now we've got the aluminum rod, we've got it tapped, and I've already insert and put my 2 jam nuts on. So we've kind of started test fitting things up. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this piece of masking tape out, and then I'm just gonna set it down real slow. And you can see I make perfect contact with the carpet, and it hits right where the little indentation from the old bounce buster is. So I have got everything measured to the right length that I need. I can go ahead and button things up, and now it's gonna be time to mount this. All right, guys, so here's the nerve-wracking part. I have got the actual foot base on the boat. It is not mounted right now. It is just hooked up in the orientation. And something really important to remember, keep in mind where this piece is. If you put it way up under here, facing this direction, you won't be able to get your foot under there to actually free it. So I want mine kicked out here to the side, so it is really easy to kick with the side of my foot, because once you drill your holes, you're gonna have holes in the deck of your boat. So go ahead and spend some time. You can spin it around, you can play with it. Look at what's gonna be easiest for your orientation. I am right-handed, so I'll be pulling the cable with the right and kicking it with my right foot. So I'm gonna put it in that orientation to make it easy to slide this out of the way. Make sure, barely drill down if you don't know what's on the underside. I've already checked that. Underneath this hatch is my rods, which happen to be in there already. So don't drill a hole through your boat, don't drill a hole through your rods. I'm only doing one just to get my orientation in place. Slide the screw down, and then that'll hold it, and I can deploy the trolling motor and drill the other 2. So what I've done now is I've actually just got the screws in. I haven't put the washers and nuts on the bottom of it, but I just want to make sure everything fits. So I've gone ahead and removed the masking tape, and as you can see, it clicks and locks right in, and now it's not going anywhere. When I pull the cable and I kick the little foot piece out of the way, you can see it deploys nice and easy just by kicking that, and I know it's gonna lock and stay put. I don't have to worry about it. This thing is not gonna be coming out in rough water. So now that we got that done, it's time to go ahead and throw a couple of nuts and fender washers on the back side so we have lots of surface contact. Some people will take starboard and cut out a disc and put a piece of starboard. That is also a great idea as well. We're not gonna do that in this case. We're just gonna go with the oversized fender washers and use those for now. All right, so here comes the tricky part. Reaching all the way up underneath your rod locker to get to the bottom of those. I know some people in a 21-foot boat, that is going to be a substantial reach. This being an 18-foot boat, it's not going to be too bad. I'm going to be able to reach under there. I can do it by myself. I don't need a second set of hands. But I'll give you a little tip. Take a piece of blue masking tape, the appropriate box wrench that you need. In this case, I'm reaching underneath, so I want it in this orientation. Put the masking tape on the bottom of the wrench just like that. Now I can take the nut and I can drop it right inside that box wrench, and it's not going to fall out. So now I can reach in there, feel where I need it to go, and then run down the drill from the top side. This will make it a lot easier for you. All right, now we got everything buttoned up, nuts underneath it. You can tell this thing is tight. It shakes the entire boat by just grabbing onto it. We can lift our trolling motor up a little bit, remove our piece of tape, and something very important. Once you get in the habit of this, this is pointed. So make sure you don't have a rod butt laying across it. Make sure your cables to your trolling motor are not laying across it, because when it comes down, it's gonna lock in place, and the last thing you wanna do is break a rod or poke a hole through your cables. That's how you install a Troll Tamer. I hope this helps you. Until next time, let's go fishing.